This is Christopher John Bjerknes. It is June 25th, 2025. I'd like to correct a misconception that is being promulgated by Syrian Girl and after him, Nick Fuentes. They are asserting that the reason why Benjamin Netanyahu, Messiah, son of Joseph, Messiah anointed for war, who does battle with King Shiroi of Persia, Ayatollah Khamenei, and does this so that he can defeat the Persians and herald the arrival of Messiah, son of David, who will rule the world from Jerusalem. They are asserting that the reason why Netanyahu named his attack on Iran Operation Rising Lion is because the Israelis are trying to instigate a regime change in Iran and install the puppet leader, Reza Pahlavi, who is the son of Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, who was the Shah of Iran, who was deposed in the Islamic Revolution, and who himself, in collusion with British oil interests, deposed Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh in a CIA coup. And they are arguing that it is called Operation Rising Lion because the old Iranian flag under the Shah had portrayed an image of a lion with a sun behind it that appears to be rising behind the lion's back. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to give you the real Kabbalistic reasons why Netanyahu is calling it Operation Rising Lion. And I'm going to explain how he inserted a prayer with a Bible verse about the rising lion who will eat the Gentiles and drink their blood. He inserted a prayer into the Wailing Wall as he was praying to Shekinah, the goddess of Israel. And as I've explained in previous videos, the Wailing Wall is the temple of Satan. It is where the goddess of Israel, Shekinah, resides and protects the Jewish people. And the reason why when Jews pray at the Wailing Wall, why they bob back and forth, is because they are imagining themselves having intercourse with Madam Shekinah. So let's have a look at what it was that the misinformation that Nick Fuentes was promulgating. He said all this after Syrian Girl said the same stuff.
Do you know the name of Israel's operation inside of Iran? The official code name of the 12-day war, the surprise attack that Israel launched? The official name of the operation is Rising Lion. I want you to Google what Iran's flag looked like under the previous regime. What was the symbol of the Iranian monarchy under the Shah?
Let's do that again.
Given this society regime change effort. And if you believe in this sort of thing, do you know the name of Israel's operation inside of Iran? The official code name of the 12-day war, the surprise attack that Israel launched, the official name of the operation is Rising Lion. I want you to Google what Iran's flag looked like under the previous regime. What was the symbol of the Iranian monarchy under the Shah before the 1979 Islamic Revolution that installed the revolutionary regime led by the Ayatollah? It was a giant green, white, and red flag with a lion in the middle of it. That is the symbol of Persia. Rising lion? Who is the rising lion in the Middle East? Rising lion means the people will rise up and overthrow the Islamic theocracy and install a new government. That's the rising lion.
Actually, Nick is wrong. Well, it's true that the flag has the rising lion on it. As you can see here, This is the old Iranian flag. And while it is true that the Israelis want to install a puppet regime under Reza Pahlavi, Crown Prince of Iran, who was the son of Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the Shah of Iran, who helped the British and the CIA depose Mohammad Mossadegh, and then who was himself deposed by the Islamic Revolution and Ayatollah Khomeini. It is not true, as Fuentes is asserting after Syrian Girl already said it, that this operation against Iran was titled Operation Rising Lion on the basis of all that. The reality is that Benjamin Netanyahu made a prayer at the Wailing Wall, and as Jews do, he folded up a note with his prayer into the Wailing Wall, and that note was a Bible verse containing Numbers chapter 23, verse 24, which states, and I quote, "Behold, the people shall rise up as a great lion and lift up himself as a young lion. He shall not lie down until he eat of the prey and drink the blood of the slain." Slain are the Iranians. The prey is the Iranians. Ultimately, it means all Gentiles in the banquet feast, heralding the rise of the world to come. They're going to eat the Leviathan of Christendom and the behemoth of the Muslims. So Netanyahu is praying for the festival, the banquet feast of the righteous, to enter into the world to come by literally consuming the flesh of the Iranian people. And that represents gobbling up the behemoth on the banquet table, cutting them up and eating them. This is literal. They literally plan to eat us. And the Leviathan, the sea serpent, represents the Roman, Edomite, Amalekite, Christian West, we Americans primarily. And the behemoth represents primarily the Arabs and Islam, but secondarily all of Islam and all of the Eurasianist Marxist powers. And if you're interested in that, I suggest you watch my many videos on that subject. And I have proof of all this, as always. Here is Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu talking about moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. And this was back on June 12th.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons. In recent years, Iran has produced enough highly enriched uranium for 9 atom bombs. 9. In recent months, Iran has taken steps that it has never taken before, steps to weaponize this enriched uranium. And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival. 80 years ago, the Jewish people were the victims of a Holocaust perpetrated by the Nazi regime. Today, the Jewish state refuses to be a victim of a nuclear holocaust perpetrated by the Iranian regime. Now, as Prime Minister, I've made it clear time and again, Israel will never allow those who call for our annihilation to develop the means to achieve that goal. Tonight, Israel backs those words with action. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear enrichment program. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear weapons.
So that was Netanyahu talking about the Holocaust, invoking the image of a second Holocaust 2.0, and calling it Operation Rising Lion. And there is an article in the Jerusalem Post which explains why he named it Operation Rising Lion. And I'm going to read from that, and I'm going to show you the images that appear in this article and explain exactly why Netanyahu called it Rise Up as a Lion. Netanyahu foreshadows Iranian strike in Western Wall note. The note quoted the book of Numbers, chapter 23-24, reading, "Behold, the people shall rise up as a great lion." This has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the Iranian flag or with the installment of a puppet government led by Reza Pahlavi. This is instead a Kabbalistic curse on the Iranians as the behemoth to go slaughter them, literally eat their flesh and drink their blood. We're dealing with a vampire people. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hinted at the launch of Operation Rising Lion, targeting Iranian nuclear sites in a note placed in the Western Wall on Thursday, hours before the planned launch of strikes. This is an article by the Jerusalem Post staff dated June 13, 2025. The note quoted the book of Numbers, reading, "Behold, the people shall rise up as a great lion." The full verse, "Behold, the people shall rise up as a great lion and lift up himself as a young lion. He shall not lie down until he eat of the prey and drink of the blood of the slain." They quote the full verse, which I just read to you. How Israel misled Tehran before Iran strike. This is Netanyahu's note in Hebrew, quoting from Numbers 23-24. So Alex Jones, if you're listening, why don't you talk to the only person in the world who can correctly explain these things? You give lots of airtime to Nick Fuentes, who copies me, and to Syrian Girl. Why don't you go to the real source who actually knows what he's talking about, so I can explain all this to your vast audience, and so that they are not misled by fools who don't at all understand what is going on and have no hope of understanding it beyond copying what I've been saying very publicly for 20 years and for 30 years and been researching all my life. So if you're listening, Alex Jones and Harrison Smith and Owen Schroyer and the whole InfoWars crew, I would love to come on to your programs and correctly explain what's really going on so that we can save humanity from this plague of death. Now, that's not the only Bible verse related to the Lion of Judah. This is Genesis chapter 49, verses 8-12. Judah, the father of Jewry. Thou art he whom my brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Isn't that beautiful? Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp, lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? This is saying that the Jews are a lion that will literally consume the flesh and blood of the Gentiles. People, pay attention to this. This is a curse of death, ultimate extermination on all of us. And Netanyahu was praying for that to the devilish God of Israel, Shekinah, at the Wailing Wall, which is the Jews' present temple, where Shekinah resides and has intercourse with the Jews and with Samael, the devil. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be, binding his foal unto the vine, and his ass's colt under the choice vine. The vine is the ripened tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Wine represents blood. Blood represents money and the soul. They are discussing slaughtering all the Gentiles and covering the blood of the Lion of Judah, his garments, with the blood of the Gentiles. There are other passages in Genesis which expressly state that this is to be the blood of Edom, when the Messiah, son of Joseph, treads the winepress and wets his clothes with the blood of the Goyim. Micah chapter 5, verse 8. And the remnant of Judah shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest. The Goyim, says Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, are not men, but are beasts, are cattle, are prey to be eaten, and their blood drunken. As a young lion among the flocks of sheep, Jacob, a young lion among the flocks of sheep. The Gentiles are sheep. Sheep are food. Who, if he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. Treadeth down, treading the winepress, crushing the heads of the Gentiles, spilling their blood into the cup of wrath, drinking the blood of the Gentiles. These are all deeply, deeply Kabbalistic images as revealed in the oral tradition. They were always planning this. This relates to the Sefer Zerubbabel. Well, that's a good segue. For my paid subscribers, I'm now going to go on and continue the mistakes that Netanyahu and the Kabbalists have made, the strategic blunders that they have made. And I'm going to explain how it relates to Kabbalah and how we can utilize my knowledge of what it is that they have planned in order to defeat them. And if you want to see that and you don't want to miss it, subscribe to my account, my channel on Substack at CJBbooks.com, and you'll be able to watch the entire video.